Island is. It's not even close to Toronto. Okay, let's get things going.
Hello and welcome to the Unnamed Sports Show here on the Sports Talk Line Network, where we talk sports 24/7, 365. I am your host, Joshua Griffith, and we're going to just kind of talk NBA tonight. So before we get started, make sure to like and subscribe down at the bottom. Hit that big blue join button. You'll get lots of extra perks. You'll be able to join in on the show. You'll be able to interact with us in the green room. A lot of great other perks. So Producer Lee's got a great video out about everything you get from that join button. So make sure you check that out and hit that. And so, like I said, today we're going to be talking some NBA. Obviously, the NBA is over. The Los Angeles Lakers are the NBA champions, but there's some stuff to talk about in the offseason because we have a little bit of a coaching carousel going on. We have some interesting things as we get ready for next season. So, like I said, it's a completely interactive show. So I have my phone right beside me here. I'm going to be seeing all of your comments on YouTube. So if you want to interact with the show tonight, just go ahead and comment with me, comment along on the stuff I'm talking about or stuff that you want to talk about. Because like I said, here at Sports Talk Line, we really want to interact with our guests. We really want to make the show kind of more about you guys. We want to just get everybody involved in things. So, you can tune in, you can listen to people clamor on for forever about sports on anything. So we kind of want to give you guys the platform here. So I see there's a bit of people watching. So again, please join in with the chat. I got it open on my phone down here. I'll even show you at my phone. I'm not lying. I got it here. So let's get right into things. The Los Angeles Lakers, NBA champions, congratulations to them. LeBron, Anthony Davis, the rest of the crew. And now we move into the offseason. Anthony Davis will not be taking up his one-year player option. Don't get too nervous, LA Lakers fans, because it's not a big deal. It's all just a financial stint. He'll just be doing it to kind of line up his contracts with LeBron's 2-year deal, and also it will get his service up to 10 years. So he will be able to get the Supermax in Los Angeles. So no worries about AD going anywhere. If Los Angeles is going to bring anyone else on, they're going to have to move out some contracts. Obviously, there's been a little bit of talk about, people getting traded, Kuzma and stuff, and them looking at, like a Chris Paul option, but that's a bit far-fetched. So, we obviously have the Los Angeles Lakers that were the world champions, and we have another team from Los Angeles, the Los Angeles Clippers. And there's a whole bunch of stuff to get into with the Los Angeles Clippers. So, again, if you want to talk about any of this stuff, hit me up here on the chat function, and we can do that. But if not, I will just talk about how Kawhi Leonard's teammates were not quite too happy with him this season, with everything that transpired, him being late for team flights. And we're not even talking like 15 minutes late. We're talking like 2 hours late. So these guys are sitting on a plane waiting to fly away, and they're waiting for Kawhi Leonard for 2 hours on the tarmac. Like they're not going to onboard it. Some of the stuff that these guys are complaining about, I completely get it, but this is what you sign up for when you get Kawhi Leonard. I think, like Toronto made the precedent, and we'd probably be complaining a lot more up here in Canada if, say, we didn't win the NBA championship, but we did. So take as much time as you want off Kawhi. I think Clippers fans are just going to have to figure out this is what they're getting with Kawhi Leonard. And if they want, that chance for him to be his prominent peak top self, he's going to need that rest. He's going to need kind of to be pampered and babied. Obviously a coaching change in Los Angeles with the Clippers with Doc Rivers and the team parting ways, if you can call it that, but we will call it that. And Tyronn Lue will take over coaching responsibilities, which is, again, just all to pampering Kawhi Leonard, because Tyronn Lue is basically not going to say anything bad to Kawhi Leonard at all. If he wants something, he's going to do it. So one more note out of the Los Angeles Clippers camp before I move on to other teams is that, Kawhi kind of was asking for a point guard and wanted a point guard on the team. There was kind of rumors and links to maybe Kyle Lowry being traded to the Clippers, but I don't think that's going to happen. But it's for there not being very many free agents or notable free agents. It's going to be still a pretty exciting offseason. Kind of move on. Covered AD, covered Kawhi. I want to move on to the Raptors because I kind of mentioned them already. They have an interesting thing again this year. And I think most teams do as well, as you see that it's not a big free agent market, but teams are trying to kind of jockey position and jockey their rosters and their salary cap to kind of wait for next year when we have a lot of big name free agents come on the market. So Toronto is doing that again. Like they're one of the teams that are doing that. We saw Marc Gasol sign with FC Barcelona in Spain, so he won't be on the team. Serge Ibaka is a free agent. We have Fred VanVleet, who will be getting a pretty big raise. He's an unrestricted free agent. But again, so if you're looking at next year when, top line free agents like Giannis Antetokounmpo are, up for grabs, is if Toronto is going to be in on it, they need to make money, make sure they have enough money that they can sign Giannis at the max cap, the super contract basically. So, it'll be interesting to see what Toronto does. They will most likely, kind of move on at a 1-year thing. If they sign Fred VanVleet to just a 1-year contract and it's not long term, and if they're signing 1-year contracts, then they're probably thinking they might be in the mix for Giannis. And if you're seeing, heavy long-term contracts for Ibaka or Fred VanVleet, then maybe Masai Ujiri doesn't think that he's in that. I mean, Masai Ujiri is not signed beyond this year, so I don't know, where his space is at, and it's been interesting with the offseason because he's had to deal with the situation coming out of last season's NBA championship in Oracle Arena with the security guard. So, interesting things with that with the Raptors and along with other teams. So, kind of going to move on with the coaching carousel. Going to move on to the Philadelphia 76ers because Doc Rivers is now their head coach. And it's kind of an interesting team with Philadelphia. You have two great players. I don't want to call them superstars because they're not yet, but with Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons. And they could really do more than they have been. But it just doesn't seem like things fit with anything they're trying to do. Like everything's locked up. There's nothing that Philadelphia can do. All their contracts are set for the next little bit. They're going to probably try and get Al Horford off the books, which is a terrible contract. But the 76ers are basically going to have to figure out a way to get Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons to work together and work in an offense. They're not the right players for it. So Doc Rivers is a great coach. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know if he can fix this one. Going to keep it in that kind of side over there with the Brooklyn Nets, who hired Steve Nash. Haven't really touched on this big Canadian signing, big Canadian show right here. So obviously I'm going to talk about Steve Nash. And the Brooklyn Nets could be really scary next year. I don't have it necessarily in front of me, and that's poor. That's poor preparation by me to not have the top 10 that was just kind of released of what's going to happen next year. But the 76ers were up in there. They were in the top 10, or sorry, the Brooklyn Nets were in the top 10 and the Toronto Raptors weren't. So make what that of you were. I think the Heat were like 10th or something. So it was ridiculous. But I'm excited for the Brooklyn Nets next year with Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant. They're both going to be healthy. Should be, a pretty strong team in the East, and the East is going to kind of be wide open. You have Milwaukee last year who won it all, who won the Eastern Conference, but weren't able to translate into the playoffs. And they're not getting better. They're they're kind of just progressing, and they're finding out what's going on with Giannis. So it's going to be an interesting year from Milwaukee. The Indiana Pacers hired Raptors assistant head coach Nate Bjorken as their new head coach. And apparently there was talk about Victor Oladipo being a little bit ruffled by it, but it seems like it's all fine. Him and the coach were talking, and they have a strong game plan going forward for Indiana, who looks like they could be also a contender in the East. So like the East is wide open to me. Kind of chatted about the East a fair bit. Now we'll switch it back over to the West. And I kind of want to talk about Chris Paul, because there is some Chris Paul rumblings about being traded from Oklahoma City, where he's going to go, what team want him. If maybe the Lakers could make room for him by dumping salaries, dumping players. That's a lot of players that they would have to dump, but Chris Paul could be, an option for contender. And then also too, you got to have to look at the Houston Rockets, who don't really have a coach right now. I mean, they parted ways with Mike D'Antoni, and his running gun style offense, it was an exciting thing, but it didn't really look to be effective, right? Like James Harden can only shoot the three, and you can only play small ball in the regular season for so long, and it's going to catch up with you. And that's what happened with Houston. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with them in the offseason as well. I mean, it's like I said, for an offseason that doesn't have very many free agents, it's kind of an exciting one, just because as everyone kind of makes moves and figures things out. Just kind of looking at my phone here. Don't got any. If you guys want to ask questions, if you guys want to talk about anything specific, make sure you comment in the YouTube chat, and we could talk about that. So I'd love to interact with you guys tonight here. I'm going to keep it going for a little bit longer, unless you guys want to ramp it up and start asking some more questions, and then we can make this show a little bit more interactive. It kind of feels like me rambling on, but as Lee knows, my producer, I like rambling on, don't I, Lee? So so it looks like we got a fair bit of you guys watching and enjoying it right now. So that's great to see. Again, like I said, join in, interact with me in the show. What do you think? What do you think is going on next year? Is it going to be a Lakers repeat? Is LeBron James going to get, 2 more NBA Finals rings and match Jordan? Are we going to end the debate whether Jordan and LeBron James, who's the greatest? Is that what's going to happen in the next couple of years, or are we going to get something completely different? Let me know what you think about that, and if not, tonight we can definitely interact again, have some more shows as things kind of move along in the NBA, and we figure out what more pieces are dropping and stuff. So. I think we got some timid people in the chat, unlike last time that we did this, and we had some really great opinions in there. Just throwing it, I think I was thrown under the bus like 4 or 5 times, which is fantastic, because Van was just happy to come out on top with all his hot takes. So gonna wrap this up here in a couple minutes. So I want to thank everybody for joining me, and again, make sure to like and subscribe to the Sports Talkline channel. Make sure to follow me on Twitter at Joshua Griffith 0, and hit that big blue button and join up the YouTube channel and get all these extra perks and join us. I mean, we have tons of shows out. There's an NFL game going on right now, and the highlights will be out for Sports Talkline later on in the evening, if that's something that you're interested in. And yeah, basically all the sports. Like, we don't say we talk sports 24/7, 365, because we don't. Okay, so Again, thanks to everybody that joined me here. Just like another, like I said, a quick recap of what's going on in the NBA off season, get everybody caught up, and hopefully you guys enjoyed that. So for the Sports Talkline Network and the Unnamed Sports Show, I have been your host, Joshua Griffith. And remember to love sports, all sports.